wanted to show you, this was my hook mug, and I love my little octopus mug, but I was worried that the hard ceramic surface inside might be a little too much for my wooden and bamboo hooks, or the enamel metal hooks. They have that coating on them. Sometimes it's like a color coating, and I don't know if there's maybe even like a clear coat on the metal hooks that I don't know about. But I created a cover that goes over a 4-inch flower pot to protect my investment in my hooks. Especially, I was thinking originally for the wooden hooks because, see, that's very safe. You know, no chance of splintering or cracking of the wood because it's hitting that real soft, squishy yarn. I'm using ribbon yarn for, I don't know, a lot of people use them for bags and stuff because it has a structure to it. And this is from Ice Yarns. It was on sale in the fall. It may still be on sale. It's jumbo cotton ribbon, and it's 100% cotton, and it's recycled cotton, which I like even more. And it's okay if it's a little folded in places, because that's going to happen when you start to crochet it. It will start to fold. As you can see on the finished product, you know, sometimes it twists and folds. But it's a really interesting yarn to work with. This was the color that I had used for this gray one. It has a little bit of a shine to it. I don't know if it's mercerized. But this is the number for the gray one, 60123. I don't know if they still have it or not. But I'm going to use this blue on the red container. And this is a freeform kind of project. If you understand the principles of increases and decreases, you can start to organically create covers for any object, and you can start making, you know, things. You can start with like objects that you want to cover with crochet, and you can start making clothing, you know, anything, as long as you understand the principles of increases and decreases. It can be an organic thing rather than a pattern. Number one, I want you to make a long tail on this. Give it a good 8 inches at least, because when you're going to weave it back in, you're going to want a nice long tail to anchor it. Because the hole is going to be a little large in the bottom, and you want to cinch it up. So I don't know if you can see it in the bottom. I've cinched that up. I don't want a big hole in the bottom for my hook to, you know, go in and hit the hard bottom of the cup, because this is what it sounds like. We don't want that. We want a nice soft landing. Okay. So the yarn itself calls for 8 to 12 millimeter. Okay. But I'm using a 15 millimeter because I want it to be squishy. And this, I tried different crochet hooks on it, and I found that that was the best. This one is. So yeah, make sure you have a nice long tail. And we're going to do 4 chains after that slip knot that I just made. So this is 3, 4. So you make 4 chains. Go into the first. I'm going over two loops, making a slip knot. Now you got to find the center and go in again. You're going to go over your tail. You're going to make sure that you capture it. So lay the tail over your chain circle, and as you go around, you crochet over it along with this circle. Okay, so that was your first single crochet. I'll do that again. You do the slip stitch into the first of the 4 chains. Go into the circle, pull up a loop, make a single crochet. Now you're going to make 8 single crochets. The reason why I'm doing 8 and not 12 or 10 is because the yarn is so large that trying to fit any more than 8, you could do 6. I always do a multiple of 2 when I'm starting a circle. It just makes it a lot easier to remember your increases. This is a 4-inch pot. It says it right on the bottom. It's a 4-inch pot. But that's at the end here, I think. I don't think it's this part. I didn't bother to measure it. I don't know what size pot you're going to use, or if you're even going to use a pot. So yeah, it's 2.5 inches at the bottom, 4 inches at the top. And so it increases by 2 inches. Well, oh, 1.5 inches. So yeah, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 more. 7, 8. You can double check that. Start at the top part of your single crochets here, the top of the stitch, under both. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is the 8th one. Make sure you go under both. So I've just made the single crochet on the next level. Go back into the same stitch and do another single crochet. Now all the way around until you get to here, do 2 single crochets in every stitch. So you should have 16. No matter where you start, 6, 8, 10, 12, you always have double that in the next row when you're doing a flat circle. And then once you get to the end of this round, I no longer count my stitches going around. I just don't. So I do what I guess people would call a spiral rather than rounds. I don't like having to count every single round going up or out of in a project. And the other thing is, this project only has these 2 rounds in the bottom of the cup, the container. Okay. Since I started with 8, should be 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh. Did I go? 2 times 8 is 16, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Well, looks like I've already started my round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, there it is. See that? That was where I leveled up. So now that's 16. I'm going to just do 1 to 1 in every row going up. But I want to turn so that it goes up. And I wanted to do it very sharply. So let me tighten this, and let me tighten this center. I just want to lay it in here right now and just make sure that it fits. So can you see in the bottom of it? It fits right to the edge of the cup. So that means we can start making it go up on the inside of the cup. And I'm also going to do something ahead of time. I'm going to pull this tail up and just let it stay on the inside of the cup. You'll realize what that's for later. Just make sure your tail is sticking up in your work, facing you as you're going around and around and around. You could pin it if you want to keep it out of your way. But yeah, leave the tail. So now we're just going to do 1 to 1, but in addition to just 1 to 1, we're not going to go through both loops. We're going to go into the front loop from the bottom up, like that. And do our single crochet like that. Now it looks like it's going to distort it a lot, but don't worry, when you get into the next stitch, it helps even it out, because you'll see it like a real great big hole there, but as you can see, it evens out as you go along. So now take a look on the back. This is where you started right here. See that lip? That's the first stitch. You want to continue all the way around until you get to this one, so that they overlap just by 1 stitch. That's all you want. I would mark this one with a stitch marker, so you know where it is. I'll meet you back. Okay, welcome back. I want to do the last stitch, which is that half of the loop rather than the whole loop. You just do the front half. And there's the overlap right there. Okay, so this overlaps this stitch. Now we'll go under 2 loops, and you see how that changes the look of the stitch. This is the ridge line that you get when you only use half of the top of the stitch, and this is where it started. And so these two are right above each other, above and below. From now on, we're just doing a spiral. We're not leveling up. We're just going 1 single crochet in every stitch till we get about halfway up the cup, and then we're going to start increasing, because remember, it increases. keep doing this and I will meet you back. Okay, so that was the end of round 5. You're using the stitch marker to help keep track. Alright, so I'm going to check it again just to make sure that it's fitting down in there and the sides are up against, we want to make sure that it fits in the bottom and the sides hug the sides. It's okay if there's a little bit of extra. Let's do another round and then I'll meet you back. So I've gone around again and I'm not going to count rounds anymore. I'm just going to periodically stop and see if it fits. Squish it down in there good and then look at the sides and see if it's starting to cave in or pull away from your edges, and you need to start adding stitches so that it continues to grow. It's not doing that yet, but I think within the next round it may be. I'll show you what I mean when that happens. I don't know what size cup or container you're using, so you're going to have an organic feel for growing your stitches, but I'll show you how I do it. And I just have to wish you luck on it because I don't know what size cup you have. I don't know what size yarn you have or yarn hook or what your gauge is. So it's going to be different for everyone. It's a deceptively simple project, but if you don't have a feel for your own stitches and how to increase and decrease, you're going to have some trouble. But I'm hoping that if you're here, you've mastered the simple single crochet and how to do like the front loop and the back loop to make the turns in and out of the cup. And we're making this basket differently than what a lot of people normally make the basket. They don't usually make it with the right side on the inside of the basket. Usually when you're making a basket, it's like this. And this is the right side, like this. But we're making it this way because I want the right side to be facing on here, and then when it comes around to the outside, it'll be the right side coming out. So yeah, go around and around, and as you hit your stitch marker, just check it. Each round, check it, and look to see, is it starting to pull away from the inside of the container, if you have one like mine that gradually increases. So far I haven't done any increases yet. Because it's not pulling away from the sides. But soon I'll have to make increases. And I'll show you how to do that. Actually, I'll start making some really long increases on this. This is going to be the first stitch in this round. This is second, third. Now the fourth one, I'm going to show you how to increase. Really simple. You just put 2 stitches in the one spot, the fourth one. Then we do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we do another one in that 4th stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we put 2 in this stitch. And there's just single crochets. That's all we're doing. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're not decreasing yet. Okay. So that was increases every 4th stitch. Let's see how it looks. Okay, it's not ruffling too much, not curling in because it doesn't have space. This is good. This is a good increase. Okay, so the next one we're going to increase every 3rd stitch. And that should be our last round. So 1, 2, 3, and then we do an extra stitch in that 3rd stitch. Okay, do that all the way around. 1, 2, 3, and then that 3rd stitch you put 2 single crochets. I'll meet you back. Okay, so let's see how it fits in. I'm at the end of this round, and it looks like it's really big, but because it's a big hook and it's a squishy yarn, yeah, that's good. I probably could have gotten away with not adding any more increases on this round. But now it's going to be the turning round, as I call it. We're going to actually turn the work over the lip. So what we're working in now is this outside edge, the back loop. So we don't have to leave it in there now. So go into the next stitch, into the center, and just pull up that 1 loop. And we're going to just do 1 for 1, no increases. And I'll meet you back when we get to the end. Okay, so here I am. You can see this ridge. Do you see the ridge? You keep going around until this overlaps, just like we did in the bottom. And we're going to move our stitch marker up as well. As you can see, I'm just doing the back loop. That's where we started doing the back loop. It creates this ridge. That's the first one. So this is it. That's the last one. Ridge over top of ridge. See that? That ridge over that ridge. Alright, so let's move the stitch marker up. I'm just going to mark this as the top and the start of the back loops only. It's just a visual aid. It's not necessary. You don't have to do that. It just makes it a lot easier, especially if you're not used to working in spirals like I do. I do spirals all the time. Okay, so there's your ridge right here. And you just want to let that ridge be the top of your container. Okay, I'm going to show you. Go under both loops this time, because now we're done with that turning row, the row that changes the direction along the surface. And that's 1, that's 2, that's 3. So how you do a decrease is on the 4th chain, On the 4th chain, you start your decrease. So this is decrease, and then you go into the next, without finishing the stitch, you go into the next stitch, you pull up a loop, and then you go through all 3. And that takes those two, would have been 2 separate single crochets, and turns it into just the one up here at the top. See that? This was 1, 2, this was 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th one you've got 2 stitches below, and now it's just 1. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, the 4th one, you go in and pull up a loop, and then in again and pull up a loop. And then you just finish it all at once, all three loops off your hook. All right, let's do it again. 1 regular stitch, 2 regular stitch, 3 regular stitch. Okay, 1, 2. You pull up a loop, and then you go into the next one and you pull up a loop. You pull those 3 together. 1 whole stitch, 2 whole stitch, 3, and then 1, 2 loops. You pull through all 3. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, and then you do 2 together. Single crochet, 2 together. SC tog. 1, 2, and that's the end of that. So let's try fitting it. It's looking pretty good. It's not flaring out too badly. Now we're going to make it tight again. Because the nature of decreases, if you continue with the same decrease, you will decrease it even more, because you've got less stitches on this row than you did before, and then if you do the exact same thing, you'll have less stitches than before. So let's do that again. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, and now decrease 1, 2 together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 together. On the 4th one, you do 2 single crochets together. 1, 2, 3, 4, you do 2 together. So complete 1, 2, 3, and then 2 together. 1, 2, and we're right here at the end, so we can stop. Let's check it again. And now curl it down. See, it's starting to come in on the sides here. So let's do that again. I'm going to leave it on the cup because as it becomes more and more form-fitting, it's not as easy to take it on and off. And ultimately, you should be able to take it off of a flexible cup like this, or flower pot. It's a very thin flower pot. But if you're using a ceramic or glass container that has straight sides, you know, just like a regular juice glass or something, or a jar, pickle jar, it might be harder to get it off if it tapers like this. But if it's just straight up and down, you don't have to do any decreases or increases. So that might make it easier if you used like an old pickle jar. So this was on the third. So here's my last two together. 1, 2, 3. Now 2 together. 1, 2, 3. And the fourth one we do 2 together. And I'll meet you back. Okay, so this is how, when you're doing freeform crochet, you have to kind of listen to your yarn and not the pattern that you're following, or the sequence. We were doing 2 together on the 4th stitch. Look at how far it's leaning to the right. What that's telling me is I'm decreasing too fast. See how tight it's getting here? And that's, you want it to be snug, but you don't want it to be so tight that your stitches are distorted. So I'm going to add in a 4th stitch, a 4th single crochet. So now there's 4 single crochets, because here's the 2 together. 1, 2, 3, 4. It slows down the rate of decrease by adding in stitches in your intervals. So here's the decrease, which is on the 5th stitch now. Okay? So now we're going to do 5 single crochets. There's my decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this is going to be the 2 together. I might even do 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we'll do a 2 together. 3, 4, 5. We'll do a 2 together here. And you don't have to make yours as tight as mine. You can go looser if you want to. Three. 4. 5. 6. I think I'm just going to go 1 to 1 for now on, because it is very tight. I'm just about done. That's it. So go ahead and just pull it through once, because it's so thick. I think doing a double knot at the bottom would make it stick out. But remember, make a long tail. This is not easy to hide your ends. And I have a special trick that I learned from Tina, who does a lot of Icelandic. She's from Iceland, and she does a lot of mosaic crochet. I'm going to hide the end, and I'm using a tapestry needle. If you have a hard time getting the thick yarn through your tapestry needle, they make special needles like this. I got this from Hobie, but I'm sure you can get it in other places. I think they call it a wool needle. It's got a big loop. Oh, can you see that loop? Is it focusing on that loop? Of like fishing wire. Now the trick I learned from Tina, I don't know how to say her last name, but it's like Thottavir, something like that. I'm sure I'm not saying it correctly. But her trick is to go, you put your needle, your yarn through the eye of the needle, and then you actually go eye first into your fabric of your stitches. And that way you don't actually go through the like through the thread, through the yarn. I was actually really surprised at how easy it is to catch the point of your needle on this woven yarn. It's you see how it goes through. It's very surprising how easily that tip, even if it's a blunt tip, goes right through it. So I had to do the backwards tapestry needle trick. Thank you, Tina. And you know how to weave in your ends, I hope. But I just do it this way because the ribbon yarn is surprisingly catchy. go back down. And then back up again. Okay, and let's cut that. Gotta pull it. Now we want to make sure that it's not sitting on the yarn. Unless you want to, you could close it off if you wanted to and just make it smaller and smaller and smaller. But I don't want to do that because I actually want to be able to take this off when I want to wash it. So here's our center. We want to pull it tight. It's a little folded here. So I'm going to use this. This is a trick I also learned. If you have these wool needles, you can use them as a needle threader. Now I gotta pull it through. Come on. I gotta find a flat place. Here. So that's another trick. Okay, so now we've got this 4-chain circle that we tighten up with our tail. Remember, go backwards and go under like at least 3 or 4 of the circle, 3 or 4 loops. Tighten it. And make sure that you either go 1 in or 1 over so that you have an anchoring loop. You see that? That's the anchoring loop right here. Right there. Now you go back the other way. You go a little bit further along. Don't anchor twice on the same loop. You could even go around one whole revolution if you want to. Or halfway around. Trying to get away from me. You don't have to do this as many times as I'm doing it either. Actually, looks like I'm not going to be able to go any further. It's so tight down there. Okay. And you just push that down in there. You can take your stitch marker off. And it is complete. You can take your sensitive, soft things that you want to baby, like this wooden hook, if you have furls, or I use the divot shaped wooden hooks. This is my this is my favorite hook. It's my Tulip 5.5 red, a Timo red, I believe is what they're called. So they can fit in there. And if you have non-ergonomic hooks, I find that weaving them in and out around the edge a couple of times holds them. If you have thicker ergonomic hooks, in and out once is usually enough. Like that. Because, you know, it depends on the size of your holes. But that's what I'm using this for. It's a crochet caddy that has places for inside and outside to hold your hooks. So you can really baby the ones in the middle, and then, you know, the ones on the outside are very immobilized. You know, they're not going anywhere. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and if you like, share, and subscribe, or I would love comments if you have anything to add about this. If you have any questions, I welcome them. Please ask away in the comments. I also have a Facebook page, and you can share your work there. Show me the pictures. I'd love to see what you make. And crochet your way today, because it's the only time we have.